So you can see now. Okay, let me start. IMC Network and Skylight deep dive session. And this is about AI enhanced fisheries monitoring, control, and surveillance. As introduced, I'm Kate Jung, and my background is I worked at Korean Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, and I worked as a Korean Navy as an intelligence officer between US and Korean Navy. Back then, I firsthand saw the illegal fishing in action by Chinese fishing vessels, like cursed into Korean waters to catch fish illegally, and then they were fighting. It was war from my side. So it was really first shock to me. And then I decided myself to jump into this stopping illegal fishing and unreported and regulated fishing in action. So I'm really always keen to contribute some way to stop IU fishing. And then I really happy to see this technology development of AI use to catch those illegal vessels and enhance enforcement of those bad guys. So this session's objectives are to understand the IMC network and how it supports the global fisheries MCS community. And second is explore AI applications for compliance activities and key implementation considerations, and examine real-world benefits and limitation through a detailed case study. This case study is my experiences about researching and chasing some illegal vessel operating in Somali waters. And fourth, discuss your perspective on AI integration in MCS operations, because we cannot help using AI anyway in everyday lives. And also, I think it would be really good to think about how we can use AI when we enforce or follow compliance for MCS operations. So let me introduce about IMCS Network. The IMC Network is an informal, voluntary organization that connects and supports members from national fisheries agencies and regional fisheries organizations. The IMC Network is the only organization of its type. We bring together those that do the job at the national, regional, and international level. So as a fisheries officer in each respective government, we always respect your efforts that do the job, like in action in field. So we are calling out them to join the network and communicate and coordinate their efforts to stop IU fishing. We are uniquely positioned to identify and understand the needs of our members and to develop, implement, and facilitate initiatives that directly respond to the challenges faced by them. In this, we create tangible and sustainable impact for our members by increasing their capacity to identify and addressing IU fishing and fisheries non-compliance. You can see those small icons. So IMC Network has several platforms named TCN and PPFCN is Tuna Compliance Network and Pan-Pacific Fisheries Compliance Network. And also we are in the Joint Analytical Cell, JAC, and we are just facilitating coordination and collaboration between members in IMC Network. We work toward this vision through our mission to strengthen and enhance fisheries MCS compliance and enforcement by promoting and facilitating effective communication, collaboration, coordination, and capacity development across our community. Today, the network includes 81 members. The network also includes 9 observers from international government organizations, intergovernmental organizations, NGOs, and academic institutions that support the objective of the network. So this map shows African members, African nations joined IMC network. So you can find your nation, or you cannot find one. please consider joining our IMC network. So we have three pillars, strategic objectives. So one is improve IMCS approaches, compliance and enforcement approaches that combat IU fishing and optimize levels of compliance. So we always like to higher our compliance level, right? So through coordination and collaboration, we share information each other, and then we are always keen to optimize levels of compliance. And second is effective collaboration and cooperation established and maintained between members and across the global fisheries MCS and compliance community. And third objectives are empowered, informed, and capable fisheries MCS, compliance and enforcement practitioners. So we are pretty much focusing on digital infrastructure because you are so busy in action in field. So we are always struggling to or just striving to provide digital infrastructure. So IMC Network website, you can visit the Central Information Hub, and then we have the like a hundred of library sources. You can read and just source from their best practices, and combined regional authorized vessel tool craft vessel identification and comparison list is available for members. And network, we have network portal. So if you log in the network portal, you can see who is from which country, and then you can connect to them via those portal. And learning portal is to be launched soon, and then we are developing capacity or remote learning courses for global MCS practitioners. And second priority, our focus is on capacity building. So Global Fisheries Enforcement Training Workshop 2026 will be held next year in August or September in 2026. So please consider your capacity to fly over or attend this GAF2 2026 and meet each other and communicate and coordinate each other. I think that'll be really great platform to build capacity and also communicate. And we are also running the JAG collaborative intelligence. So JAG is basically provide analytical information intelligence to members. And knowledge sharing is one of the key functions of IMC network. Best practice dissemination and peer-to-peer learning network will be the very beneficial to members. So what do IMC network think about AI? IMCS network recognize the potential value of AI in strengthening fisheries MCS and compliance operations. From analyzing patterns in vessel behaviors to automating large-scale data processing and supporting risk-based decision-making, AI tools can assist those working in compliance and enforcement by improving responsiveness and operational reach. However, some of you agreed with this statement. The use of AI must be guided by principles that reflect the complexity and responsibility of compliance work. It must serve the needs of those doing the job and support transparent and just processes and contribute to more equitable and effective governance across jurisdictions. As a trusted convener of global fisheries MCS, compliance and enforcement community, the IMC network offers the following position on the responsible replication of AI in our field. So the rest comments will be followed after introducing my case study. So here we are. As a researcher, and I'm Korean, right? So I found AI use Skylight is very valuable tool to find out bad guys at sea. So because Skylight has multi-source data integration, so public and commercial satellite data and SAR aperture radar system is also built in, and then they just integrate all source data into one Skylight system, and radio frequency geolocation and high resolution electro-optical imaging. So I will show in shortly. And AI capability is automated trawler detection near EEZ boundaries, and abnormal activity pattern recognition, and real-time alert generation, and historical behavior analysis. So as a researcher and very I would like to say one of those who are keen to know what's going on at sea. I have been following one Somali vessels. The Somali vessel name is Butialo 2, and IMO number is as shown on the slide. And I always want to know what Butialo is doing in Somali waters. And then I try to analyze and follow and collect all AI's data, AI signals they ring on during their trip from Oman to Somalia. So a fishing trip takes about 1 month, and they just turn off their AIS and go into Somali Egypt, and allegedly they fish in Somali, and then go and just turn on AIS again and go out of Somali Egypt and return to Oman, Salalah port. So I started myself to manually see when they turn off AIS and when they turn on AIS. And then I just put every period they turned on and turned off. And then I assumed that, okay, they must have been fishing in Somali waters. So it was manual analysis, hours of AI's data review, and then sometimes it has low data fidelity, right? Because we have no further data other than AI's data. But I found Skylight very useful and valued the information providing, because I put the Butialo 2 IMO number in the Skylight. It showed, okay, this time must have been fishing and in this area. And then it shows the picture as well. So let me show the video clip. Do you see my screen? No?
No,
No,
Oh, okay.
you're still on the case study slide.
So now you are seeing, right? Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So this is what I'm using for AI's analysis for tracing the Butialo 2 vessel. So this software may be familiar with some of you, is Starboard. I have no intent at all to make offense to Starboard, but Starboard provides AIS data. And then based on AI's data, I just put every dates, like here, loitering and missing AIS, And then I assumed it is fishing from 28 September, 27 September 2024. So I manually put it in the document based on AIS missing period. So existing data was just detected only when missing. So you can see I'm struggling. Loitering, missing AS data, and then I just manually sliding the dates and then writing down like this. Okay, this is an AIS record, but now Skylight I'm using Skylight, and then you put it vessel name, Butiallo 2. And it shows past 18 months data, AIS data, and also all kinds of data I mentioned about SAR and satellite image and is draft change, and every data is integrated in Skylight. And then you can see if you can click events in fishing, then you can see when they must have been fishing in these dates. Like you can see the icon of fish, right? So now I know they fished in high potential, highly likely they fished in those areas on 6th June 2024. And you look at zoom in, then just click the fish. So this is a vessel detection in photo. It means they have photo vessel detection. And fishing means all kinds of data has been integrated to identify their fishing. So it's exactly in Somali waters. Butiallo 2 was in fishing as Butiallo in Somali waters. And you click the icon of fish, you can see the photo, satellite photo they caught in Somali waters. Yep. That is all my experiences from Skylight use to trace Butiala 2 Somali flagged but Korean owned trawlers. Why I'm tracing this vessel was, according to Somali law, the trawling is prohibited, strictly banned within all Somali waters. So trawlers go into the Somali waters and operating itself is illegal. And then as a Korean, I could approach many data set about this vessel. and then they sell the fish from Somali to Korea, and then they became wealthy. So that's why I then keep chasing the Butialo 2 and Butialo other fleets, their operation in Somali waters. But I found the Skylight information was very useful and informative and valuable information when I research or chase their vessels activities. Let me back to the screen. Yeah, you can see my screen, right? Oh, sorry for the noise. My kids are so noisy. Okay, so you can see the before Skylight was I could only assume fishing activities, and missing vessel AI's data created blind spots, and manual analysis was time intensive. It took 1 week to follow every AI's missing data and then assume it should be fishing and then put it in the table. It took 1 week for me. But after Skylight, the all integrated data analysis across 18 months, and then it like assesses, okay, this must have been fishing in Somali waters with trawlers. So precise fishing event detection using satellite data and comprehensive vessel tracking despite AIS gaps. So let me share my IMC network position on AI. First, AI should support but not replace. Human expertise always needed when you use AI. And human-centered approach, a fair and inclusive access need to be. So when you think about, okay, just randomly using AI means you cannot know anything about the data validity. So as a researcher or just a MCS practitioner, you need to set a standard. Okay, I really want to know this fact, and then use AI to verify that information. And third, fit for operational use. So it should be real world alignment. Like I use the AI Skylight system to chase Butialo 2 vessel, and then it was really useful. And transparency and accountability means clear decision-making process. And responsible data practices, data governance framework, and key safeguard would be the very solution or key approaches from IMC network members when they use AI. And collaboration and shared experiences is really important because you lead your life and your practices every day, but it's really challenging to share information every time you find out anything. So I think if you can use this AI and then share information across the continent, that would be great, because the same vessel is doing bad things around the African continent. Because, for example, one Korean-owned and Guinean vessels, they did really bad things in the off coast of Sierra Leone, and then they fled to the Liberia. So it all connected. The one bad vessels doing bad things, or along the shore. So I think info sharing via AI and then among MCS practitioners really good and helpful about finding something. And ongoing learning and support. Capacity development focus, IMC network is really dedicated and contributed to capacity building and capacity development of MCS practitioners. So please contact us if you need any capacity development opportunity or training. We are open to your contact. And so now I'd like to open the floor I'd like to really know about what you think, how you think about AI use when you do compliance works and MCS work in everyday life. It's open the floor, so feel free, raise your hand and then have your comments or have your questions. Yes, Gary.
Okay, look, perhaps I can start the ball rolling. Good evening, good morning, everybody. My name's Gary Orr. I'm from New Zealand, the Ministry for Primary Industries, which one of our responsibilities is fisheries compliance. Really fascinated to see how you've used AI to fuse the data sources, Kate, and to fill in the gaps and to build a more comprehensive picture. One of the ways that we're using it in New Zealand, this is for our domestic fleet. So IUU is not just about illegal vessels, as you have demonstrated. It's about the unreported fishing, which can happen in your own domestic fleet. Our domestic fleet are required to complete catch documentation at the time they bring the fish on board the vessel. When they land it, it must go into a licensed fish receiver. There are a number of those that are approved by us. They keep records of fish that are received, and from there it's distributed to dealers and fish or exported. And what happens along that supply chain is there is the opportunity to introduce illegally caught fish or to take fish out of that supply chain. So what we've been doing is, and all of those records are electronic, so what we've been doing is using AI to do big data analysis. So you're getting thousands of lines of data, which would take weeks for an analyst to work their way through, and using AI to identify the discrepancies to work out where there is quite significant discrepancies, both in terms of species that are moving through the supply chain or weights of fish, and work out, well, okay, where is that fish going? If it's not going through the legitimate supply chain, where is it going? And it really helps us to identify where the risks are in the legitimate or the licensed supply chain, and helps us focus our limited resource in terms of fishery officers to go and undertake inspections of those companies, those vessels, increase the monitoring so we can get a really good assessment of what activity is being done. So as I say, one of the big benefits for us has been around big data analysis, which has been so prohibitive in terms of resources in the past. Now we can do in hours what would take weeks in the past. So AI, it is a game changer, and using a military term, it's a force multiplier. You know, if you have a limited resource, you use AI, it maximizes the benefit of that resource by giving you a quicker return, a faster return. There are some, pardon the pun, fish hooks. You still have to do some quality control because AI doesn't always get it right 100% of the time. So we use spot checking to ensure that the data analysis that we are seeing through AI is accurate. So far, we've got a fairly high confidence level. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of the other uses that there can be for AI within my country and globally. And I know that for the GIF2 in 2026, there is going to be sessions on AI. Really looking forward to hearing the experience of others around the world. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you very much, Gary. It was really useful because it's one of the best examples by New Zealand government to use AI to identify risk first, then just enforce, get into the enforcement. I think it'd be really valuable use of AI for New Zealand government. And then I wish to hear more from you, audience. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free, raise your hand.
I think there's one in the comment or in the chat box from Shamsul. Let me read it. And that's a Skylight specific one. So, okay, maybe I can take that. Just reading it so that everyone here can just hear it. So the question is, what are the main challenges faced when deploying Skylight in developing coastal states, especially when infrastructure is limited? And thank you for the question, Shamsul. So I'll take that. Skylight is one of many tools out there used for raising our maritime domain awareness. And our focus and our objective is really the coastal states and flag states that are pretty limited in their capacity. And so we're talking about in my case, where I come from, the Pacific Islands, we have small administrations, and so using Skylight kind of helps these small administrations cut down time doing analysis. But the most important part is to keep the people on the front lines involved, so the analysts in there spot checking the data. I guess the most difficult part for us is adoption, long-term adoption or consistent adoption. We've had people use Skylight for a couple weeks and then just kind of die off, and then they'll use it again another week and then die off. And so what I'm thinking, or what I think could be a possible cause, and one of the challenges that we face is there's really a disconnect between what we're deploying and each individual country policy level directives that enable effective implementation. Of course, besides our very small team at Skylight, we don't have much resources to go to every country. So we try to scale through partnerships. And so we've partnered with organizations like IMCS Network, who have broader reaches. And we also partner with other organizations like UNODC and other developing countries that have capacity building programs. So the US as an example, New Zealand, MPI as an example, they have capacity building programs. And so, yeah, short answer is, the challenges, as I mentioned, is really the disconnect between policy support for underground operations. And that's been, I guess, one of the limiting factors to adoption.
Thank you.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you again.
Thank you. I see Ali, your hand.
And thank you very much, Kate and Yuki. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And I really see that Skylight. And I was recently introduced through UNODC training, which happened in Nairobi, in Mombasa. So I see the Skylight we're using, and I'm from Somalia. So we have influx of vessels and what you call it, who are illegally fishing in our territories, and this is a constant what you call it, issue that comes back with the limited capacity that we have currently. I was what you call it, I'm mainly responsible for the what you call program and project development. So I was recently introduced to the Skylight. We had different systems known as Spire and Global, but I saw what you call it, there are much differences through and from the Skylight and the Spire. And so I really believe that Skylight provided more details. And when I was trying to, when I requested the login access to Skylight, I saw how much data and broader access and broader, what you call, different satellites and different, and even during night vision and heat vision it has. And so my perspective is, and since I was recently introduced, I might need more information in terms of the capacity of using this system. And what you call it, building AIS capacity, or MCS, and what you call it, monitoring, control, and surveillance capacity, it takes quite of time. It needs a lot of resources and human, what you call, skills. So we're right now trying to establish a center in Bosaso to see how we can, what you call it, view and analyze before taking an operational steps. You have to understand and analytic data, the seasons they come, and what you call, you mentioned some of the vessels, but our region's instant worry is the Iranians. I think they start coming around October and November, and then and December, and then they quietly stop, and then they kick off starting in February. It's hundreds of what you call large boats that comes and what you call, without any license and prior knowledge. Of course, they turn off the AIS, and with the Spire system, it only detects and what you call AIS activation. But the Skylight, it can detect the dark vessels. That's very important to us. So what you call it, Kate, you provided a very insight on how you can what you call detect. But I would request from my specific and throughout when we try to build the capacity to have a what you call one session, so I can understand how to use the systems. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be introduced to the Skylight. And of course, what you call it, I have also shared that message to you and ODC when they shared the Skylight with me. It's very important. And thank you very much.
Thanks,
Over to
Ali.
you.
Recognize the need for capacity building, and I think that's a common request we see across many countries and many organizations that are carrying out MCS and enforcement activities. Yeah, on that, we deliver these online sessions once a month. So between all the regional managers in Skylight, so we have a regional manager for the African region and the West Indian Ocean, Southeast Asia and Pacific, and then we have Latin America and the Caribbean. So between the 3 or 4 of us, we have these information sessions every month on just the basic use of Skylight and updates on the new developments that we're pushing out. This session specifically, the deep dives they don't happen as much or as frequent as I guess it should be happening, but it's dedicated more to topics like this, where we dive deeper into issues or topics that are relevant. So it's kind of different from our everyday kind of basic Skylight training. So we'll share the link to the signups after our session. We'll share the link to the sign up page where you can sign up for the different information sessions, and hopefully you could join in our upcoming sessions that we schedule. Thanks. And I see Nico, your hand.
Yes, Yuki, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. And thanks, Kate, for the presentation and introduction to the IMCS. I work for the Blue Nature Alliance. I'm based in Namibia in Southern Africa, and I manage our portfolio of partners around Africa. And I was pleased to see, Kate, that most of East Africa is covered, or most of those countries are members all the way from Somalia to South Africa. And I'm also glad to meet Ali Hassan. We should maybe talk, Ali, because we are kicking off a phase 2 project in the wild that could potentially lend support to Somalia. Just to come to your question, Kate, about the use of AI. Because the JAC, the Joint Analytical Cell, they are technology partners to the Blue Nature Alliance, so we have access to the different, partner companies, from treatment tracking to Wild and Marine, the Global Fishing Watch, and Skylight. And I was introduced to Skylight last year by Theo Gerard. He's our Africa person, and we're in frequent contact. I have access now to Skylight, so I'm really enjoying just familiarizing myself with the tool. But just to share with you how AI data has been really useful to us. We have a partnership with Gabon and the Republic of Congo in the Gulf of Guinea on the west side of Africa. And our implementing partner, they have their own, custom boat MCS tool, a monitoring tool. And we realized that the limitation of that tool is really good for inshore, monitoring. Maybe up to 12 to 14 nautical miles, but really ideal for your 6 nautical miles. And then we introduced Skylight to them. We onboarded it, on a couple of systems. And just recently, my contact person reached out and said they celebrated the arrest of 2 dark vessels in a marine protected area. So just to go back a step or two, what Blue Nature Alliance does is we offer support to governments and stakeholders to improve marine conservation, to protect, vital biodiversity, to can help with climate change mitigation, but we also like to really couple it to blue economy development and coastal livelihoods. And for us, a key part of our interventions is to support governments and stakeholders to improve MCS capacity. And around Africa, that's really, it's really low around Africa. That's why you'll find that IUU incidences are probably the highest around our continent than anywhere else. So we do understand, all the pressures that our governments have to try and balance the use of funds to build the economy. Some are still struggling to recover from COVID and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So we are mindful of those challenges, and we think that Skylight can be such a good tool just to improve capacity without spending a dollar. What we're starting to realize is we need to support them in the response, because Skylight can provide the really good quality data near real time, and it also helps to track any suspicious activities outside of your EEZ, because that's the kind of view you get with Skylight. So I think for regional cooperation, that becomes really important. And we like to encourage the use of Skylight, especially historical trends, to just start revisiting IUU risk assessments. Many times we find that governments are stuck in old ways of doing things. They've got scheduled patrols, the patrols go the usual routes for the last 20 years. It may shift here and there, depending on the new data that they have available. But many times we find that we can already start addressing costs by just redoing the risk assessment and really using the most current data on dark vessels, illegal vessels, etc., to determine where the hotspots are. In Africa, for example, we find that there's a lot more IUU activity at the EEZ boundaries between 2 countries, and those are usually the extremes, where your MCS may not extend to, if you're doing it by boat or even by fixed-wing airplane. And we know that those things come at a cost. To keep a vessel at sea is really costly. To put a plane in the sky is also costly. So we're trying to move to a direction where we encourage wider maritime domain awareness, because many times the MCS responsibility and the enforcement sits with the Ministry of Fisheries or Marine Resources, while in some countries you have a very well-capacitated Navy, or even a police force that has a coast guard or a presence at sea. So, we're trying to be creative in how we bring governments to improve their capacity without necessarily spending any money. What we do find, Yuki, is that there's also inconsistent use of Skylight around the continent. In one case example, in one of our partner countries, they're using 4 different software types. And when I asked the MCS specialist why is that, then he just said, they also put in a lot of money from the government budget to develop a custom system, and now obviously, people are stuck on the system. But then as they've been exposed to training and networks and partnerships, they onboarded additional systems. So they have one that monitors, like the Southern Ocean area. They have one that does the inshore area up to 6 to 12 nautical miles. Then they have the wider EEZ. But he admits that it becomes really complicated. You switch screens all the time, And he finds that Skylight is really the tool, the optimal tool that brings a few requirements together. It has ease of operation, ease of access, and really good data. So I don't want to be too long, but I just want to say, Kate, I think there is value for AI use in our region. I think it can help us to streamline our response processes. The one thing I think we are trying to look into now as well is how do we incorporate the use of artificial intelligence and the data generated by that for enforcement. Because many times our laws and fine system regulations are outdated. They were written when AI didn't exist to the extent how it does now. So, there are a few key things that we need to look out for. But I haven't used the tool for long, but I really take to heart what the MCS officers say about the tool, the guys that do this daily. And so far, I only get good responses. I'm just trying to find creative ways to improve adoption and for the countries to stay consistent in the use of Skylight. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And well noted on some of the important points that you raised. It was a bit difficult to catch some of it, but the ones that I took away were the limitations on inshore monitoring, and I heard the value of AI in the region, streamlining processes, and how to action how to use AI or the data generated for actual enforcement purposes. So I've taken down some of the points, and we'll certainly take those into consideration in other works that we're continuing to do. I see Nor your hand.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. I'm Nur Dawood from Somalia, especially Minister of Fisheries and Blue Economy. We have encountered challenges in the maritime surveillance where vessels appear in Skylight detections. But the main maybe problem we may have is that not feasible on other platforms like Sea Vision, Global Fishing Watch, IRE, maritime traffic and Triton. So I can see them. I can see or can detect the vessel in Skylight, but cannot detect through this. So this discrepancy is often due to the reliance of maybe many of these platforms, like on AIS. IS signals, so which can be turned off or maybe manipulated by the vessels engaged in illegal or unreported fishing activities, which is our mandate. And so Skylight utilizes satellite radar imagery, something maybe like that, which may allow us to detect maybe some vessels regardless AIS transmission. However, what we wanted to address is this gap and enhance integration of radar-based detection systems with AIS-dependent platforms. So please, can you share with us maybe some of tips or key things we may try to know the. Yeah, the main problem I forgot to raise is that when I check that vessel in the other platforms I mentioned, it appears in very, very far away from area of interest, like Asia, maybe some very far, Atlantic. It appears very far. And in Skylight, it tells me it is in my area of interest. So I'm also new to the platform. However, I would like to know if there's some tips to integrate this with very many thanks.
Thank you very much for that. As I mentioned earlier, in the previous comment that I made, Skylight is one of the many tools that we have in what we call the MCS toolbox. Other organizations, I guess, other tools are available. VMS, we have countries that have a electronic log sheets, and then of course we have our satellite images, and so all of this data is very important when we're trying to do MCS work, and so not every system in the world will solve the problem. And so what we've seen in many cases, the countries that have, I guess, done a good job in integrating Skylight is into their platform, they're able to again provide that human intervention to cross verify with other systems. So I'll use Google Earth as an example. It's used in some countries where they use Google Earth as a common operating platform, where they're pulling data from Skylight, they're pulling VMS data, they're pulling log sheet data, and so with the multiple layers that they have, they're able to cross verify some of the detections that they have. We do recognize that not all the times we might get some bugs or some errors in Skylight. One of the downside, I guess, to using AIS is it's easily manipulated by the vessel. So whatever the vessel is displaying, we'll see it'll be transmitted and you'll be able to see it. Other times we see clutters from other AIS transmitting devices such as buoys, and so we're actively trying to clean that up and present the most I guess quality data and information for MCS practitioners to use. With that said, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, it's really the multiple tools in the toolbox, cross verifying with observer reports, log sheets. Some countries have integrated or implemented electronic monitoring, and so all these come together to really paint a clear picture. And so just to provide a short response to that, we're working actively on the faults or the errors that we see in Skylight. Again, I wanted to really emphasize the importance of verifying the data that you're getting from the various systems that you're using. Hope that provides answer. Hope I answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. The main challenge, since we are new to the platform, we face very many challenges. I don't know if the access, the level of access we have are limited or not, but we will share our concerns like the information sharing sessions like this. So the main problem we may face nowadays is that we can see vessel in our interest area through AIS Skylight detection. However, when we check it in other platforms, we can see that vessel is not accessing at all, or maybe it appears in a very far area, which is not in our area of interest. So that we wanted to know what is what is the issue of this? Why is this? And how to know the maybe yeah, something like that. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you very much. And I've taken a note of that, and we'll reach out to you with a much more clear, I guess, explanation, and perhaps also invite you to the upcoming information sessions to, I guess, also learn some of the capabilities as well as some of the limitations that we encounter. I see Shaukat, your hand. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
Yes. I think you pronounce correctly. I am Shaukat Kubra Choudhury. I am working as a senior assistant director in the Department of Fisheries in the marine fisheries sector. First of all, I would like to thank Katie for her nice presentation on IMCS. I had a chance to join in probably it is the 6th global capacity building workshop during the COVID season, probably in 2021 or 22. Personally, I joined the workshop online. So my question to Katie that how can our department or our country join as a member in the IMCS network, and do we require to pay any fee for this membership? It is the questions for Katie. And my second question to you, UK, is that we are facing some challenges when we are implementing the MCS in Bangladesh. Like we have set up by legislation a control line, 40-meter depth control line in our country for the demarcation of artisanal and industrial fishing. Industrial fishing are not allowed to fish below the 40-meter depth control line. But many times the industrial vessels are coming to our entrance below 40-meter depth line and fishing mainly in the night. But still our Fisheries Monitoring Center is developing. We are now implementing an World Bank project. Under this project, we are implementing Fisheries Monitoring Center, VMS, and others. But still, it will take time. So right now, how can we face or cope up with the challenge that to identify the industrial vessels which are coming to the 40-meter depth control line and fishing in the night? And one other challenge in our country is that most of the fishing vessels has no AIS device. So how can we get help from Skylight to identify the uncooperated vessel, mainly in the 40-meter depth control line? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, regarding your first question on participation, I think Gary is posting
Yes,
in
I
the
will
chat.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Gary. So Gary is our executive member of the IMC network. So thanks to Gary's providing information, you can join as a member to IMC network through this information described on our website. And then please contact me after this session. I will put you with our CEO, the executive director of IMC Network, and then we can have an introductory call, and then we can take steps, step by step, to join the member of the IMC Network. And about the identifying the dark vessels and illegal vessels operating in night, yeah, that is really challenging in Korea too. And I think it is all true in every country to detect any illegal fishing vessels operating at night. It would be really challenging to MCS practitioners. So I think I would be open to floor to hear more about your expertise and your everyday experiences from field. But I'm afraid we have only already 7 minutes past to 1 hour session. So yeah, please over to you, Yuki.
Thank you. Just I guess my last comments, and I'll just briefly answer the question posed earlier. As I mentioned, there's certainly limitations to every technology out there. Obviously, with Skylight, you cannot determine, whether the fishing vessels are, fishing under the 40-meter line. But with vessels that have AIS, you can definitely see that, they're in the region or they're in the area. So with that information, armed with that information and with other sources of data and intelligence, those can come together and really help, paint a clearer picture. So I, I must apologize. I don't think I have an answer for how we determine fishing under those under 40 meters. But again, we're very open to hearing what you've done, what sort of approaches you've done, what information you've gathered, and we're very open to just general feedback. Perhaps after this session, we've prepared some short survey for everyone. We welcome you to provide any feedback that you may have, positive, negative, or any feedback really in general is appreciated. And I guess that's it from my end. I'll turn the floor over to Kate to just wrap up, and perhaps we'll close out the session if there are no urgent last minute questions.
Yes, and then adding to the Yuki's comments about Mr. Shukot's question. So thank you, Gary, again. Membership of IMCS Network is free of charge, so no fee to be member. Okay, thank you very much for today's session, and then thank you, Yuki, for Skylight's team and deep dive session preparing this session. And I really enjoyed to be connected to all of you and then sharing my struggles to find out illegal vessels operating in anywhere at sea. So thank you very much, and we keep in touch via mails. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Kate, can you share your email? Oh, thanks. Thank you, Kate. Bye-bye, Kate. Thank you.